I obviously joined Father Gabriel, as he said yesterday. Now he saw the man himself, Gary Pinto. And I must say that our youth in Tonga and likewise in Samoa, I'm sure they still sing that Youth Day on 2008, Gary. So now, like Thomas, now I believe. I see with my eyes. Yeah. As I listen to all the speakers so far, coming to the last day of our Congress, I thought of an image of a diamond. Divine mercy is like the greatest treasure of all, the very mystery of God, like a diamond. And somehow all the speakers and even the sharing so far is like looking from different angle of this precious diamond. The church, after all, is in custody of looking after this great treasure and being passed on from generation to generation. This evangelion, this good news of God's mercy. So we've been listening, and each speaker tackled, and of course we cannot exhaust this mystery. So when John asked me in the last few days before he published our program, come on, Cardinal, you're the last one to give the topic. What's the name of your topic? Because I've been thinking of what else, but Jesus, I trust in you, and it's time of mercy. But he wanted me to put a saying. So I just look at the main message of Sister Faustina to the whole world. Jesus, I trust you. I wanted to perhaps twist it to another angle of the same glittering of that same diamond. So I just phrase it as you see in the program. Fear not, I am I. It's me. Because somehow that message of mercy, and even just looking at the picture itself, it's just like somebody that the world, especially today, who is so anxious and so afraid and not know where we are going, and we seem to feel stuck. The church seems to be in the wrong direction. We all the more need somebody perhaps who knows us well to come forward and stoop. Really, that's what another way of saying mercy. Someone stooping from above and look at our misery, and just say, fear not. It is I. And of course, obviously, this is taken, my little saying in the program, be not afraid, it is I. Jesus himself, number of times, said to his little flock, fear not. Taken especially from chapter 6 of St. John's Gospel, where his disciples were struggling, rowing their little boat, rough seas, storms, cyclones, all these abuses happening in the world. The bark of Peter be tossed around, stormy weather. And Jesus appeared, fear not, it is I, my little flock. And so many other times he's been saying that, knowing from his own experience. And that's what the whole meaning of the great message of St. Faustina. 3 o'clock, that sacred time, he absorbed all the fearness of the world. So when he speaks to us, trust me, and saying to us, fear not, it's coming from a person who really experienced it. That's why 3 o'clock, my dear brothers and sisters, a precious time for you messengers, divine mercy. We join him in his real experiencing the fear, in tears of time of fear, and even shed his blood. Who else can compare suffering than the one who is holding the helm of the ship? It reminds me of a story of this turbulences in this airplane, the story of this little kid, while everybody was so scared, the plane was, and except this little kid, he's just playing with this little cube. enjoying looking around, everybody else. And this man beside her said, "Darling, you're not scared?" "Nope." And I said, "What's going on?" The little girl, "The pilot is my father. I know him. Fear not. He is the one, he walked our walk. He even appeared on the day he conquered everything. Look at my wounds. I have tasted it all. I know how you feel. It is I." In other words, he's just saying, I am with you. I've been there. So in a way, all of us, brothers and sisters, as recall yesterday from Archbishop Porteous, he was sure that we are brought here somehow being touched by mercy. From your own angle of the diamond. After all, he wants to, in order to be conveyed, to convey this message, he wants to work through others. So you are here, I'm sure perhaps another person is also here with you after you've been touched by another person. Divine mercy is a call to awaken the whole world in going forth to share and be messengers. Our world is longing for that. We talked yesterday, love is kind of stale. Impersonal world. Now with the machine computer, no more relationship to one another. It's kept cold. And yet all the more this message. Be messengers of, give flesh to the world. Give them hope. Because I have conquered it. I have walked it. I have risen from the dead. That's the greatest news that need to be reinvigorated. You and I need to really go back again to what we celebrate. We are celebrating a resurrection, and he is here. And that's what the message to Faustina. Go and tell exactly that. And in particular, tell them, don't be afraid. I am steering the thing. But I won't force you. I'm just inviting you. I'll just wait. But don't delay. Remember the Tongan time? It is now. It's now or never. This is the only time. Time is ripe. So we come here, we all have different experiences. So who else can we turn to as perhaps initial and first experience of mercy, but our own family? And I must respect we come with different unique experience. I just love to talk about, I would say, my first experience of mercy, but perhaps with another glimpse of the diamond, the suffering message that I've been touched by. With my little humble family, especially my mother. Because I remember in her dying days, coming near, she got cancer. Actually, she got this sickness when she was very young before she got married to our father. These are all stories told to me by her later on. But I was the one always accompany her. My older brother went overseas when he was young and studied. The other, the third, I'm the second in the family. The third, the fourth, they come later. But I was the one somehow, I would say, prepared. I took her to the hospital. So many times we were in the hospital. That's where I saw the suffering faces of people. That's where I heard the crying. That's where I saw blood. And I got nervous. And I saw it right from my mom. The groaning, the aching, and so forth. I was close to her. Anyway, fast forward. Coming towards her final days, I remember sitting beside her. Everybody else took off a little room in the hospital. And I was just quiet. And then from time to time, sitting there, reading my breviary, and I put this, she would reach out. This time it was almost half coma type of, touch my hand, and just press it hard, and then slowly, I just let her do that. Press it hard, release. And then she dozed away sleeping, and I just look and stare at her hand. All of a sudden, I sobbed, I cried, holding her hand, kissed her. And then she opened her eyes, saw me crying. She said, "What's wrong? What happened?" And I said, "I'll take my crown. Who knows, the Lord will take her anytime. I'll say my word." So I said, "Mom, I just want to thank you. This hand," and I like a movie. Fresh quickly, I was so emotional and nervous. "This hand of yours raised me up. This hand of yours, I remember the kindergarten. Remember when you took me and you sort of released me? And I felt I don't want to leave you. And yet the other kids waiting, welcoming me in the primary school. Then you walk away. And other experiences where your love as a mother, I just want to thank you." And she just smiled, just smiled. So I kissed tenderly again. I said, "Lord, let me kiss the hand of a saint while I see her living." In the Catholic Church, we so venerate the relics, but they are already in heaven. I'm just experienced a saint here on earth. Please don't take me. I'm just humble. It's up to the Lord. I'm not canonizing her. I just kiss her hand tightly. "Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom." So, her suffering, even it developed in me a strange suffering. I still suffer, my niece and my family know. When she suffered, I suffered. When I was in the seminary, she used to write to me. I still keep her letters. She always addressed me different from any other who write to me, even my former girlfriend, Tonga. She will always call me Soane Patita, John the Baptist. "Dear Soane Patita." That's how close we were. Not with my dad, another time. It's a different story. After. I recall those times. She was so close to me. Well, yesterday I ended the story when, my predecessor, taught me, "Now you dress well, we go to the King of Tonga to tell you you're finally the one chosen to be a bishop." So on my way to see the King, Tongan protocol, I said to my older brother, "Please stop at our humble home. I want to see your mother." I was dressed, Roman collar, everything, So my mom was sweeping in the backyard, putting laundry as a mother and so forth. She saw me coming and I said, "Son, why are you dressed up like that?" I was on a sabbatical leave. I was lecturing in the seminary. I just said, "I told you that, so why are you dressed like that?" And that time I couldn't speak. My heart was pumping. "I'll make you a cup of tea." It's okay, Mom. It's okay, Mom. Just looking away, kept sweeping, and then she said, come inside. So she went, pulled the water, and then, "Come, son." I just can't sit with her. I stood in the door of our house, looking back. There was a pigsty at the back. I used to go and clean the pigsty, even when I was a priest. In the holiday time, I cleaned the place because I have two other younger brothers, lazy bums, lazy fellows. They never, excuse me, Jesus. They never help our moms. They sleep, drink, cover all night and being lazy. They were spoiled by our mother. So each time I have holiday, I come and clean the house, and then I left. I went back to seminary, presbytery. So I stood there at the door, dressed well. My mother saw me and is wondering what's going on with this fella. So I said, "No, it's okay, Mom." At that time I was crying. I look at the pigsty. I said, "Man, no more cleaning. I'm going to be a bishop." I missed this duty. I never tell. So I was just waiting when I'm going to be cooled down, then I speak to her. Then something she said to me, I'll never forget. She looked at me, I was just then back to her. She said, son, if you are leaving the priesthood, it's okay. That's when I run back. Mom is no. They're going to make me a bishop. They make me a bishop. Just receive the letter. I just reveal it to my older brother. Then I'll never forget that look in her, typical of a mother. Humble, not stirred. He just stared at me as though she was saying something to me indirectly or non-verbally. I sort of knew it from the beginning. I don't know, but she was just looking at that. And then she said to me, don't, in a Tongan way, I can't recall, but something along the line, don't boast about it. Be humble and remember our little humble home. It's not a reward for any achievement. All we have in our family, as you remember, is going to church. Our home is just next to the Basilica in the main capital of Tonga. That's all we had. Be humble. I said, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. Then I left. So in her suffering, the final day, I kept coming to see her. See, this was 2007. But as she was dying in 2008, they called me. Mom just kept asking for you. Please come. So I finally arrived home. She was holding a little Jesus King on one hand. And one hand was just open like this. And kept asking, when is Bishop Soane Patita come? When? He was just waiting to hold me for the last time. So when I arrived, Mom, here I am. She grabbed it. That moment of gripping, I felt myself. I'm somehow stand persona Christi to say to my mom for the last time, I am with you. Fear not. Jesus is with you. At the same time, the heart that she grabbed my hand, she was somehow also saying to me, I let you go. I have done my part. I show you the mercy of God. I just cried. And then next thing, we were surrounding the little bed in our home. I saw the other hand with the little king slowly released. And she slowly let me go. And that somebody in the crowd said, Ave Maria, and we sang. I've never seen such a serenity moment. She looked so beautiful. Shrink the face because of the cancer, bony in those months. And yet she was just like a saint. And that is part of my little story. God also speaks to you in his own way. We have a favorite priest, now he's gone to heaven, Father Fatu, the Tongans will remember. He always ends up his homily by saying, in God's time, in God's way. That's when we know that he's coming to a conclusion. But I won't conclude, John. Tonga time. I will go on. Sorry. But that's what this message of empowerment to each and every one of us. In a world we are struggling. We are aching, as Father Lori said, in pain, spiritually, physically. And no wonder this word fear is so-called the father of all deep human emotions, negative emotion, shame, guilt. The father of all is fear. And no wonder he chose that very word. Fear not, my little flock. I have conquered it all. That's why the real crisis in our world today, it's a crisis, financially, okay, we need that, but it's a crisis of trust. It's a crisis of faith. Simple as that. And that's why it's a whole reawaken, new reformation. Fear not, because when we fear, we have a little kind of a strange flower, not flower in Tonga, we call mateloi. Mateloi, in translation, is pretending to die. When somebody comes near the mateloi, somehow he feels, so he just shrinks. Fear is a time when we've experienced so much stress and we just clumped in, shut in. That's really what happened to the church in the day of crucifix. They locked doors. But as former speaker said, he came, even he pierced through that locked doors and stand. Here I am, Thomas. He didn't condemn them. My friends, look, as though he enjoyed, not hiding the scars, but it's your turn. Find me in the wound of people, my people. It's a paradox. How can we? Only those who are near to the suffering people. That's why Pope Francis go out. Because he himself experienced that in Argentina. We experienced that too. Especially those who are so close to dying ones, loved ones. Because he just wanted that to disguise himself in the face of suffering. Mother Teresa is a great example of that. Because Jesus isn't there. So the hospital is sick of this sick man. They kept throwing him out, so to say. They fed up with his complaints, so they put him back in the midst of Calcutta. So Mother Teresa and her entourage, sister visiting, and somebody, Teresa, Mother, this man here, she was kind of shrinking in one corner. And Teresa looked, and so she said, bring me the basin, bring the water, start cleaning. And as she was doing that, this man said, Mother, what are you doing to me? Why? You don't know me. So Mother was just kept quiet in respect, clean, as though she was hasting to something, a treasure, an opportunity, never to miss. She kept on working on this. But this man kept on, why are you doing? You don't know me. And Teresa knew that that's why the hospital kept putting him back, complaining, Then Teresa finally, when the man was cleaned, she looked at, you may not know me, but I know the Christ in you. That's divine mercy. He could have chosen other way, but he chose the way of suffering. Isn't that what the Via Croce in every Catholic church? So unique with the Stations of the Cross. So the chaplet at 3 o'clock is the hour. That's why Britain finally beat up the Germans. World War was this inspiring speech of Winston Churchill. This is the hour. Move not. This is the hour. John, this is with me my last story. I always marvel at different kinds of applause by people. If somebody making a speech that kind of move the audience, an average speech, they will just clap. But if somebody kind of make a brilliant speech, excellent, the crowd with the so-called standing ovation. That's when everybody will stand up, not just clap, but they even stand up. But there is another applause that relate to the cross. That moment in Gethsemane where he was in blood, in confusion and stress, even not too sure, Father, whether I drink the cup or not, is a sign he was really human, just like you and me. He came a few times. All the Tongans were sleeping. Peter and James and wake up, be vigilant, the flesh is weak. And he went back. Final time, something different. He just came, stand up, let's go. Only the speeches of those who talk from experience, not like politicians, perhaps just wordy. But when the flock, the little ones, hear a speech or an empowerment by somebody who went through their suffering, it's different. They not only clap sitting, they stand, applause, they say to him, we'll go with you. Let's go. That's what he said to his disciples. My enemy is waiting. No more fear. Why? He was so intimate as from the beginning with his Father. Father Gabriel talked about that mystery, Father, Son, Spirit in us. That's why he constantly finds time of silence, contemplate the so-called prayer with his Father. That's where the power, that's where the vitality that the world needs today, where it will touch deeply. So when Jesus came and said, my dear friends, stand up, let's go. Winston Churchill and other heroes, Mahatma Gandhi, and the hero Martin Luther Jr., we want more of those, that people in our time would listen and they say, we are touched deeply by this guy from the cross. Let's go. Let's wake up from our slumber. I wish that our Tito would play, wake up from your slumber. I used to tell the church, I love this hymn. It's just telling who we are. We are on a long slumber. Sleep. It's just a goal. Wake up, fear not. I have conquered it all. And let's move. All the best, my dear brothers and sisters. I know that you're longing for a good, nice lunch. But stick close to those who are messengers of mercy. It's a call for us, eyes to open, ears to hear, as Isaiah said. Because that's what's really happening to our world. We just listen to ourselves. We blocked. And how can the message of mercy that others have talked about dwell and enthrone inside us? They reckon this is the longest journey to journey into our hearts where mercy dwells. If he made it, if Sister Faustina made it, if Teresa Lisieux made it, John Paul II, as we listened yesterday to Archbishop Porges, believe that you are saints, desire for it. That's what lacking, desire. Then you'll get it. Because we found it not elsewhere out there, too noisy, too distracted. It's right there in you. God bless you all.